Hi, thanks for watching this message video. Today we're continuing in our series through the book of Isaiah, and we're covering chapters 26 and 27, where there are some of the most highlightable verses in all of the Bible. Now, in these two chapters, Isaiah uses what's called a chiastic structure to compare two different themes or concepts or ideas. The first is this: when we trust in God, everything will work itself out for our good. And the entire Bible is filled with this truth. In fact, one of the most highlightable verses in the entire Bible is found in the book of Romans, and Paul mentions this. Romans 8:28. And we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them. Loving God and trusting God are synonymous to God. And when you and I get to a place where we do recognize, as Isaiah has been saying, that God is the potter and that we are clay, that he makes us with purpose, that's going to change everything about how we live and how we trust God or how we have confidence in God. However, there are some who have interpreted these passages in Isaiah or maybe in Romans to interpret that we are not going to have troubles, that we're not going to have calamity, that we're going to be facing basically easy street anytime that we walk with God or choose to follow him, which is not the case. In fact, look at what it is that Isaiah says. Isaiah 26:3, 8 through 9. You will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you, all whose thoughts are fixed on you. Lord, we show our trust in you by obeying your laws. Our heart's desire is to glorify your name. In the night I search for you. In the morning I earnestly seek you. This promise of perfect peace that Isaiah is talking about is real. However, notice that it does require some effort or energy on our part. For instance, there's the mental exertion that is required to fix our thoughts on God or on his ways rather than on our problem. And then there's the physical exertion of following through with obeying those laws or maybe not doing something that we're not supposed to do. So in other words, those who have developed a relationship with God will experience perfect peace in spite of any chaos they are experiencing. And the reason is they know God is going to keep them safe in the midst of anything that he has called them to. But beyond a confidence and a trust in God and our demonstrations of that through mental or physical exertion, there's also how we are supposed to demonstrate for God that we recognize that he is sovereign in all things and that all things good come from him, and that one of the good things that comes from him is his discipline in our lives to develop us toward that place of trust. In fact, look at what it is that Isaiah went on to say. Isaiah 26:12, 16 through 17 and 19. Lord, you will grant us peace. All we have accomplished is really from you. Lord, in distress we searched for you. We prayed beneath the burden of your discipline. Just as a pregnant woman writhes and cries out in pain as she gives birth, so were we in your presence, Lord. But those who die in the Lord will live. Their bodies will rise again. Those who sleep in the earth will rise up and sing for joy. For your life-giving light will fall like dew on your people in the place of the dead. While some women may not necessarily look at a pregnancy as a gift from God, I think that in a general sense, everybody knows, both men and women, that biblically speaking, children are considered to be a good gift from God. However, with that good thing, that good gift, comes a lot of suffering, not only in birthing that child, but in raising that child. And the truth is no godly parent that I've ever talked to has ever told me anything different than this. God uses children to discipline us as parents, to train us and help us recognize what's wrong in our lives. So in other words, Isaiah was saying that those who trust in God are to deal with the disciplinary pains of this life like an expectant mother deals with the pains of childbearing. Why? Because the result is being reborn into a new life. Now let's talk about that second truth or idea or concept that Isaiah is comparing and contrasting in this chiastic structure. And the second one is this: those who trust in themselves instead of God will be humbled and decimated. And the truth is, it didn't matter if it was an Israelite who had seen all the amazing works of God or somebody from a different nation whose only evidence of God was creation. Simply put, Isaiah's message was this: if a person doesn't recognize God as real and trust in him, they will be humbled and destroyed, while those who trust in God will enjoy his personal presence and protection. In fact, look at what it is Isaiah goes on to say about the last days and about the Messiah and the judgment. And if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that at the final judgment, it's not just humanity that's going to have to answer for everything. It's also Satan and all of those who have followed him. Look at what it is that Isaiah says. Isaiah 26:5, 10 through 11, 21, and 27, 1 through 13. He humbles the proud and brings down the arrogant city. He brings it down to the dust. Your kindness to the wicked does not make them do good. Although others do right, the wicked keep doing wrong and take no notice of the Lord's majesty. O Lord, they pay no attention to your upraised fist. Show them your eagerness to defend your people. Then they will be ashamed. Let your fire consume your enemies. Look, the Lord is coming from heaven to punish the people of the earth for their sins. The earth will no longer hide those who have been killed. They will be brought out for all to see. In that day, the Lord will take his terrible swift sword and punish Leviathan, the swiftly moving serpent, the coiling, writhing serpent. He will kill the dragon of the sea. In that day, sing about the fruitful vineyard. I, the Lord, will watch over it, watering it carefully. Day and night I will watch so no one can harm it. My anger will be gone. If I find briars and thorns growing, I will attack them. I will burn them up, unless they turn to me for help. Let them make peace with me. Yes, let them make peace with me. The time is coming when Jacob's descendants will take root. Israel will bud and blossom and fill the whole earth with fruit. Has the Lord struck Israel as he struck her enemies? Has he punished her as he punished them? No. But he exiled Israel to call her to account. She was exiled from her land as though blown away in a storm from the east. The Lord did this to purge Israel's wickedness, to take away all her sin. As a result, all the pagan altars will be crushed to dust. No Asherah pole or pagan shrine will be left standing. The fortified towns will be silent and empty. The house is abandoned, the streets overgrown with weeds. Calves will graze there, chewing on twigs and branches. The people are like the dead branches of a tree, broken off and used for kindling beneath the cooking pots. Israel is a foolish and stupid nation, for its people have turned away from God. Therefore, the one who made them will show them no pity or mercy. Yet, the time will come when the Lord will gather them together like hand-picked grain. One by one, he will gather them from the Euphrates River in the east to the brook of Egypt in the west. In that day, the great trumpet will sound. Many who were dying in exile in Assyria and Egypt will return to Jerusalem to worship the Lord on his holy mountain. So to sum up, in these two chapters, Isaiah presents to all of us that there are two paths. The first path is that we can trust God. We can have confidence in him, and we can believe that he has a purpose for our life that we need to pursue, and that he's going to keep us safe and protect us and empower us toward that plan. The other path is where we choose our own way. We live for ourselves, and if we are in communication with God, it's to ask him to bless our plan and our path as opposed to looking to him for his will and his plan and his purpose. And God knows this. And God knows that every single one of us have probably walked that path at some point in time rather than the one that he has chosen for us. And so what does he do? He gives warnings. Like then, he gave warning through Isaiah, and in Jesus' time, he gave warning through him. And now in our day, many of us have received warnings from those who are godly people. And now those of us who are godly need to be the ones who are warning others that there are two paths. And so choose the right path. Psalm 25, 4 through 9. Show me the right path, O Lord. Point out the road for me to follow. Lead me by your truth and teach me, for you are the God who saves me. All day long I put my hope in you. Remember, O Lord, your compassion and unfailing love, which you have shown from long ages past. Do not remember the rebellious sins of my youth. Remember me in the light of your unfailing love, for you are merciful, O Lord. The Lord is good and does what is right. He shows the proper path of those who go astray. He leads the humble in doing right, teaching them his way.